With Brothers War on the horizon and the meld mechanic returning, today we're heading to Pioneer to play the OG meld pair of Gisela the Broken Blade and Bruna the Fading Light, trying to meld them together into Brisela, Voice of Nightmares. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Against the Odds. And last week on our Against the Odds poll, it was the meld pair of Gisela the Broken Blade and Bruna the Fading Light that took on one of the most dominating victories we've ever seen. People seemed interested in meld. How practical is it to meld two things into a huge monster like Brisela, Voice of Nightmares? The mechanics coming back in the Brothers War. We've seen Urza, we've seen Mishra. So this is kind of our test run to see just how easy it is to meld into some game-ending threat. So we're heading today to Pioneer to play Devoted to Brisela, a reanimatory devotion deck that's all in on melding into Brisela as quickly as possible. So let's talk about the deck. Jump into some games and see, is it possible to meld into Brisela and win games of Pioneer? That's what we're gonna find out. So the plan of our deck is pretty simple. We need to get Gisela the Broken Blade and Bruna the Fading Light, a 4-mana angel and a 7-mana angel, on the battlefield at the same time and have them live to our end step. If we do that, our reward is Brisela, Voice of Nightmares, a 9/10 legendary Eldrazi Angel with Flying, First Strike, Vigilance, and Lifelink, and it makes our opponents unable to cast spells with mana value 3 or less. So essentially locks a lot of decks out of the game and is probably a turn 2 clock and it gains us a ton of life. It's ridiculous. Essentially, if we meld into Brisela, we should win the game. The challenge is we need to first get Gisela on the battlefield, which is actually a pretty good standalone card of 4 mana, 4/3, First Strike, Flying, Lifelinker, kind of a mini Baneslayer Angel. And then we also got to get Bruna on the battlefield, which is the challenge because Bruna's 7 mana. That's a lot of mana, although it does have a nice cast trigger. It reanimates a human or an angel. So like if Gisela gets in the graveyard, maybe someone kills it because we cast it early, Bruna can reanimate it and then they meld. So that is the challenge. Can we get both of these cards on the battlefield and have them live to our end step? So of course, to make this happen, we got to find both of our meld angels. So for this, we turn to Search for Glory, which can snag either one of them. So if we draw Gisela, we can tutor up Bruna, or vice versa. Plus, Search for Glory can tutor up a lot of our reanimation pieces. So I mentioned one of the challenges of melding is Bruna costing 7 mana. Well, hopefully we can cheat on it a little bit with reanimation. We can use Rafine's Informant or the Restoration of Ajano to discard a Bruna and then reanimate it with Invoke Justice or Elspeth Conquers Death. We can also use Search for Glory to tutor up either Saga, so we can snag the Restoration of Ajano for a discard outlet, can snag Elspeth Conquers Death for reanimation. So that's kind of plan one. Plus, just getting random stuff in the graveyard is pretty good because of Bruna's ability. We can discard random humans or angels and then reanimate them, even if it's not Gisela. So that's plan A. Plan B is we can just ramp into our big angels with the help of Nykthos, Shinder Nyx, and also Knight of the White Orchid. Nykthos can just make an insane amount of mana, and our deck is full of white mana symbols. Along with all of our angels, we got like Thraben Inspector, Lyra Dawnbringer, another nice one of tutor target. Our removal, Skyclave, and Portable Hope puts white mana symbols on the battlefield. So hopefully, if we get enough mana symbols on the battlefield, we can maybe be casting Bruna with only, 4 lands, 5 lands on the battlefield, speeding up the meld process and the game-ending Brisela significantly. So that's the plan of the deck. The mana base, Nykthos is for the mana, Field of Ruins, Castle Ardenvale's, Cave of the Froststrike, and Ajano, and some snow-covered plains. And then in the sideboard, we get a bunch more removal, get some Planeswalker, Sarah Paragon to grind with the control decks, a bunch of graveyard hate and hate for the Greasefang deck, and that is Devoted to Brisela for Pioneer. That's our Against Odds deck for this week. So let's find out. With Brothers War coming back, how easy is it to actually meld two things together into a game-ending threat? That's what we're gonna find out today. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit for the wrap-up. Today's video is brought to you by our awesome sponsor, Card Kingdom. You can get all the Dominaria United cards you need and help support the show over at cardkingdom.com/mtggoldfish. Against the Odds time, we are devoting ourselves to melding Brisela in Pioneer this week, and we'll see. This hand's fine. We don't have any combo pieces, but we make some mana, we do some ramping, and that is necessary when one of our combo pieces is 7 mana. So the ramp, I guess it's part of the combo in a sense, in some sense. Not sure this way Knight of the White Orchid is going to do anything. Much better on the draw than the, or much more likely to ramp if you're on the draw, or yeah, if you're on the draw rather than the play. But it's still a couple of white mana symbols for this Nykthos. Finding a reanimation spell could be good. We have multiple ways to get things in the graveyard. That's our fastest way, potentially, to do the melding. All right, snow-covered plains, go. See what our opponent's up to. Botanical Sanctum, eh? Spirits. So many spirits. Well, play the land, Rafine's Informant. Loot away. Whew. Yeah, I guess the plains pass the turn. Opponent. Attic our waste, and Supreme Phantom gets in, hits us. Sure. Skyclave Apparition's actually pretty nice here. So Skyclave Apparition, get rid of the Lord, hit you for 2. 2 white mana symbols also relevant. Bant Spirit's a lot less likely to have infinite counter spells. Instead of infinite counter spells, normally Collected Company and more bodies. Hard to play like 8 counters or something in a Coco deck and make Coco work. So a little different than Mono Blue Spirits as far as how the actual deck plays. Atwara, Spectral Sailor. Gonna grow the Mausoleum Wonder. And Shacklegeist. All right, so opponent's running it all out. Hits us for 3. We draw Nykthos. So Shacklegeist can't block. We are going to take a big attack this turn. Opponent has the most stop set I've ever seen out of anyone playing Spirits on Moto. There are stops everywhere. Like, what are you doing at our draw step, opponent? What's the plan? All right, so not sure that we're winning this race though. That's the bad news, especially with Shacklegeist to bounce to tap our stuff down. Oh my goodness. Opponent has another stop set. I think our opponent's plan is to lure us into sleep by having a stop set at literally every possible place until we just scoop. We have played 58 seconds. Our opponent's over 5 minutes now. I mean, they might actually be thinking about something here. Well, they could have been thinking about the same thing, whether they want to tap a creature on our draw step or our main phase or every other stop that has been set. All right, opponent decides to tap the Skyclave. Although this doesn't actually save them any damage because we just get to attack with Informant. And then we'll play Restoration of Ajano, get a Snow-Covered Plains, play the Nykthos, pass the turn. Oh, they got the Coco. All right, we need a bad Coco here. In our dream world, we draw Gisela. Ugh. All right, that's a very good Coco. The Skyclave in specific is very good here. Opponent. Gonna answer our Skyclave with a Skyclave. The big deal is that cuts down on our mana symbols a ton. So I think our opponent's got it. Opponent goes attacking. Land. All right. Sure. So we will go to game 2. Don't really feel like sitting through our opponent's stops here. We will bring in Portable Hole, Wandering Emperor, March of Otherworldly Light. We will go down Expensive Reanimation that gets countered, Restoration of Ajano, and run it like that. So the main plan is, actually, let's bring in Paragons too. Flyers are good against our opponent's deck, and Night of Light working on the place a little worse. In this matchup, we mostly want to pay big flyers and kill the things that can tap down our big flyers. That is the way that we can beat this deck. All right, we get to play first. We'll keep this. We got removal, which is good. Double removal, and then Gisela is very good. It can get got by a Skyclave, but Gisela 4/3 Lifelinker and Flyer and First Striker, kind of a nightmare for Spirits, I think. Cave of the Frost Dragon, yeah. Botanical Sanctum, and Mausoleum Wonder. Rafine's Informant, eh? Back to the endless stops. Opponent! Why is, I think what's going on is our opponent's double queuing. That's my guess, is that our opponent's double queuing. During their turn, they seem to be playing pretty quickly. But then during our turn, they just stop on our draw step and play their other game and then come back to it in the future at some point. There's the Shacklegeist. Opponent passes. There's the draw step stop. So all right, opponent doing their cube draft. Once they're done with their cube draft turn, then they go to our main phase. That's my prediction. That's my guess with how this is playing. Play the land, Skyclave. Get rid of the Shacklegeist. Shacklegeist is pretty good because it does shut down our big flyers, which is awkward. Pathway for our opponent. Empyrean Eagle. Well, this means we get to get down Gisela, though. Ooh, Wandering Emperor, too. Well, Gisela is more important here. Opponent. Just picked a Mox, I think. All right. Well, we will play Ijano. Run out Gisela. Pass the turn. So our opponent needs an answer to this. They can Coco here if they have it. Shackle, guys. So that is sort of an answer for now. Well, we need 3 more mana and a Bruna. Although I guess Shackle Geist can still tap it, can it? Shackle Geist is a natural enemy to Brisela, apparently. Ravine's Informant. Well, let's see what our opponent does. We go to combat. I presume they're tapping down this Gisela, but wow, they're not. All right. Okay, attack? Not sure how this goes wrong now. I mean, they can block, but this has first strike. So even a double block isn't going to do anything. What we'd like to do, I think, is search for glory for Nykthos and then start conniving with the Rafine's Informant to try to find the Bruna. I think that's the plan. We could just search up the Bruna, but we're still a lot of mana away from actually casting it. If we get Nykthos, we suddenly have the mana. Takes it. Well, 1, 2, 3. Search for glory. Take Nykthos. Play Nykthos. Rafine's Informant. Resolves. Ooh, Paragon. Okay, well, we'll discard the Informant then. Since now we can Paragon and just recast the Informant. All right, another Lord, sure. Are we getting frisky? A little frisky. Could still just use a Brood. Oh my God, that's Bruna. Oh my God. Okay, so GG, I think. 6 and 7. Bruna. Get back Rafine's Informant. I think we got him. I think we got him. All the draw step stop set in the world are not going to overcome. Whole opponent doesn't even wait to see it. They know what's happening. They know Brisela is going to lock him out of the game. And hopefully the cube draft is going well. Hopefully the cube draft is doing okay because, yeah, you just got melded. Can we change anything? The Settle the Wreckage, I don't feel is likely to work against this deck, but it could. You know what? Let's go. Let's try it. Let's try it. They have disruption like Spell Quellers and Mausoleum Wanderers that make it a little bit risky, but as a one-of, it could be the card that saves us. All right, we're going to keep this, although it's a lot of lands. It's a lot of lands and only one removal spell. Hallowed Found untapped. Spectral Sailor. That's a good removal spell. Well, Snow-Covered Plains, go. Temple Garden. And Selfless Spirit. Thankfully, all of our removal is exiling. Opponent gets and hits us. Oh, Snow-Covered Plains. March away, Spectral Sailor. Pass the turn. Land for our opponent. And Empyrean Eagle. Well, the question's going to be, is one of those 2 last cards a Coco? Ooh, Wandering Emperor's nice. Let's Nykthos. Snipe the Lord. Pass the turn. Could use one of our big flyers. There's a land. All right, Mausoleum Wanderer, not a Coco. Skyclave Apparition, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Skyclave gets our Skyclave. Opponent. Out of cards for the moment, though. Hits us. Down to 14. Do we just Skyclave Wars? Is that our best bet? What's the other option? Wandering Emperor, eat the Selfless Spirit. Yeah, I guess Wandering Emperor is probably better for now. It uses all of our mana. Castle Arden Vale. Just to double check, this is instant or sorcery, right? Yeah, instant or sorcery. All right, so we'll pass the turn. Goes to combat. Wandering Emperor. Let's eat the Skyclave. Get the token, which can block the token. Down to 13, opponent just drew a land, so we untap. Field of Ruin. Blow up the Temple Garden. Get a Snow-Covered Plains. Skyclave. Get rid of the Selfless Spirit. Pick up on the Skyclave, pass the turn, and I kind of like where we're at now. A Coco would change that. All right, Selfless Spirit. Let's our opponent kill the Wandering Emperor. We need to draw one of our combo pieces. That's what we're missing. Opponent hits us. Oh, that's a combo piece. That is a combo piece. So, play Field of Ruin. Search for glory. Get Gisela. Skyclave Apparition. Get rid of the Selfless Spirit. Hit you for 3. 2 turns. We're 2 turns away. Opponent. Just a land. The meld is coming. Oh, they skip it off. We had them. We did have them. Oh, and there would have been a settle. We would have had the melt. I guess the downside is our opponent just scooped so early. They saw it coming. They saw us tutor up the Gisela and scooped. Half a meld win. The scoop in fear of the meld, it's got to count a little bit, even if it's not quite as satisfying, is seeing the the Eldrazi Angel on the battlefield. Yeah, all right. Sweet. Against the odds time, we are trying to prove our devotion to Brisela with some Brisela devotion in Pioneer. Well, let's get down the Thraben Inspector. Sand doesn't look bad against aggro. We'll see. The Skyclave's good. We'll see what we do with this Knight of the White Orchid. Mountain stomps the Thrapes. Sure. We draw. Field of Ruin. Well, play the land. This could get us a land next turn, which with Bruna, you know what? We're gonna wait. This is a little greedy. It means we're taking a hit from this 2/2, but I think it's worth it. Presumably our opponent plays a land drop. We get to crack the clue. Okay, there's a land. There's a Swift Spear. And another Saga. Sure. So opponent just running it all out there. Even more? Light up the stage. What do they hit? 2 lands, essentially. Opponent goes to combat. We crack this, draw a card. Another Skyclave's not the worst. Down to 13. Knight of the White Orchid gets us a land. Thraben Inspector gets us a clue. Snow-covered plains go. I mean, we're getting close to doing things. See how much removal our opponent has. Opponent has has the Wild Slash. So the answer is all of it, apparently. Opponent goes to combat. Goes attacking. We're gonna block the Swift Spear. Down to 11. Could use a big life-linking angel. We have many of them in our deck. Bone Crusher Giant. Down to 1 card. We draw Nykthos. Well, play Nykthos. Skyclave Apparition. Get rid of the Bone Crusher. Oh, past the turn. Can we stay alive? Opponent flips the Saga. Hopefully they're about out of threats and removal. Light up the stage, looking for more removal. Oh, double light up the stage is pretty good for our opponent. Soul Scar and a tap land. Opponent goes to combat. Goes attacking while crack the clue. Knight of the White Orchid. I think we have to take it. Yes, it's bad, but I think we take it. We drop to 5. Opponent plays the tap land. Opponent plays the Soul Scar Mage. Opponent passes. Ooh, Portable Hole's good. Portable Hole. Get rid of Soul Scar Mage. Knight of the White Orchid. Field of Ruin. Nykthos mana. Skyclave. Get rid of Monastery Swift Spear. Pass the turn, see if we survive. Opponent untaps. What are those 2 cards? If we get to untap, Search for Glory into a big lifelinker is huge. Chandra, okay. Bad, but not immediately deadly. Get pinged. And Abash. Okay, I think we got a shot. Opponent passes. Oh, we draw the Lyra. Okay. So, Search for Glory. Gain 3. Get Gisela. Nykthos. Play Lyra. Yeah, we can do the full meld next turn. Attack Chandra. Yeah, both at Chandra. Opponent blocks. Gets a 1/1. Okay, that's fine. And then I think the meld should hopefully... I mean, unless our opponent can kill the Lyra, I think the meld does it. Because that's just going to hard lock our opponent. There's the Abash. Sure. Kicks up for 2. Makes a mana. Wow! The miracle running! Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, the other possibility is our opponent, wow, top decks miraculously and we lose. That is also a possibility. All right, running like that. Opponent was so dead. We had the meld the next turn too. Like the next turn we meld Bruna Gisela and our opponent they cannot cast spells the rest of the game. So opponent needed exactly that top deck. Like there was no other top deck that would give our opponent a shot in that game other than literally exactly that one. And unfortunately for us, they drew literally exactly that one. I'll Search for Glory is going to have to go to the bottom here. Cave of the Frost Dragon, go. Opponent, Mountain, and Soul Scar Mage. Well, snow-covered plains, and yeah, let's just pass and March of Otherworldly Light. Opponent, Faces of Kazakhstan. Sure. Hangs. And another one. Well, we will Get rid of the Soulscar Mage. Sagas for days. Well, we draw Snow-Covered Plains, play Portable Hole, get rid of a Saga, play Knight of the White Orchid, go. The only downside of Gisela is it can get got by a Lightning Bolt, and we saw Lightning Bolts in our opponent's deck. Oh, play the land, run out Gisela, make him have it, pass the turn. Opponent flips a Saga. Attacks. We will take it. We want this Gisela to live. Down to 13 for the moment. Light up the stage into land and more light up the stage, chaining them together. The opponent's desperately digging for Skewer the Critics, basically. All right, runs out another Chain Whirler. Sure, we untap. Hit you with Gisela, gain back some life. Thraben Inspector. Crack the Clue. Ooh, Skyclave's pretty good. Pass the turn. Goes to combat. Attacks. Well, block. Yeah, they can light up the stage either way. All right, block the big one. See if the second light up the stage is what our opponent's looking for. Light up the stage. Chain Whirler number 3. And Aramanon Bruids. It's a lot of Chain Whirlers. Lots of Chain Whirlers. Opponent passes. Well, okay. 1, 2, 3. Skyclave Apparition. Get rid of the big Chain Whirler. Portable Hole. Get rid of the faces. Wow, they drew it! Oh my goodness. Okay. Pass the turn. Oh, these top decks are killing us. Opponent. Wow, goes attacking. Yeah, we're probably dead now. Well, that's a shame, considering how good our angels are at gaining life. It's Abash. Plays a mountain. Plays the 4th Chain Whirler. I mean, this is a pretty odd draw, like literally. Ravine's Informant. Yeah, land and death. Oh! I mean, it's a loss, but jeez. Oh, I hope you play Mono Red again because I think we beat them. Against odds time, we are trying to meld into a Brisela in Pioneer, and this sounds interesting. We got the Bruna. We have a tutor that can find Gisela. Some random stuff. Maybe mana from Nykthos if we can get some white mana symbols. Could work. We'll see what our opponent's up to. Overgrown Tomb untapped and Stitcher Supplier. Okay. Doesn't mill a Parhelion at least. Well, play the land and Ravine's Informant. Should we discard Bruna? We discard Bruna and then hopefully get it back with Elspeth Conquers Death? Yeah, I mean, that's probably the play for now. Pass the turn. Well, we'll see how quickly the Parhelion comes. We have a lot of hate cards in the sideboard specifically for this deck. We'll see if it's enough. Opponent, Witherbloom Command, drains and mills. No vehicle yet, that's big. Opponent passes. Well, in that case, I think we just play Nykthos, Restoration of Ajano, get a Plains. And yeah, we don't really want this to die yet. If this dies, it could mill a Parhelion and kill us. Conceal Courtyard for our opponent. Thoughtseize. Well, there goes Elspeth Conquers Death, unfortunately. We had, Search for Glory. Oh, everything. Okay, well, there goes everything. Well, now we need to draw something. Opponent passes. Well, discard the Cave of the Frost Dragon. Get it back. I mean, I guess we Skyclave. Get rid of the Stitcher Supplier, play the Plains, hit you for 3. Well, I guess we're kind of the aggro at the moment. Opponent down to 13. Temple Garden, untapped. This is just hardcast Azeka's Chariot? Yep. All right, hardcast Azeka's Chariot. Opponent passes. Ooh, there's a Search for Glory. All right, so we flip the Saga. What do we search for Glory for, though? Search for Glory. Would have been easy if it wasn't for those Thoughtseizes. Let's take a Bruna and see what happens. Take a Bruna, play the land, pass the turn. So opponent gets to start going off with Azeka's Chariot. Grizzly Salvage finds a Sky Sovereign and a Grease Fang. Ugh. Oh, that's bad news. There's the land. There's the Grease Fang and a Hasty Sky Sovereign. All right. Yeah. Well, now we're probably dead. Oh, we got kind of close, too. The opponent gets to crew everything. Hasty Sky Sovereign shoots down our board. Yeah, this looks like the death of us to me. Yeah, those Thoughtseizes got us good. Boy, if we ever managed to meld, it would be so sweet, but... Alright, so we take Infinite. Sky Sovereign bounces. Portable Hole doesn't do anything. Yeah, alright. On to the sideboards. Like I said, we did come a little prepared for this deck. Unlicensed Hearses, go down the Portable Holes, Settle the Wreckage can be good, March of Otherworldly Light's not that good. So something like this. We're on the play, so we probably cut some Night of the White Orchids. Maybe a Nykthos. We can go down to Search for Glory, and I guess a Restoration. The only downside of some of this is our reanimation plan is going to get worse if we have a Weathered Runestone, but this gives us 6 cards that stop vehicles from coming back from the graveyard. So that's the necessary evil to try to avoid what happened that game. Well, I think one of the interesting aspects of this deck is we're seeing how challenging it is to meld. I think this is a little bit of a good PSA for Standard. With Meld coming back with Urza and Mishra, needing to have 2 specific cards to do it and then meet other conditions. Not that easy. Not that easy. Well, we're going to keep this because this is like sort of the dream. Opponent having turn 1 Thoughtseize would make us very sad because there goes our Unlicensed Hearse. But if that doesn't happen, we should be able to shut down our opponent's synergies for a bit and then hopefully meld. Opponent, Overgrown Tomb. Tapped. All right, not dead yet. We are definitely going to play Unlicensed Hearse. Pass the turn. Opponent, Concealed Courtyard, and has an answer to our Unlicensed Hearse. Opponent passes. Well, play the Snow-Covered Plains. Run out Rafine's Informant to connive. Discard the Field of Ruin. Play the Thraben Inspector. Pass the turn. Opponent. Oh, missing lands. Okay, that's good. Oh, maybe discarding intentionally to hand size. That's less good. Well, we will play Gisela. Go attacking. Pass the turn. Thankfully, Gisela can't answer a Parhelion Angel. All right, so opponent has Greasefang. So I don't think we're just dead here because of Gisela, our mild friend. So opponent goes to combat, they attack, they make the angels, but Gisela just gets to eat one of them. And then Parhelion bounces back to hand, and we're pretty close to, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just short. So 1, 2, 3, Skyclave, get rid of the Greasefang. Play the land, and I mean, if nothing goes wrong, we get it next turn. We survive the Greasefang attack. Rafine's Informant. What could go wrong would be a Thoughtseize. Loots the Parhelion. Opponent. Well, here we go. Here we go. Crack the clue. So opponent could have instant speed removal. Otherwise, Nykthos. I think the time has come. Actually, let's go to combat, do some attacking. So if we lose something, we can still do it, right? Do we attack here? Actually, you know what? Let's not even attack at all. Let's just meld. The problem is we would turn on Fatal Push, and that would be a bummer. Bruna. Play the land. End of turn. Okay, that's fine. That is super fine because, oh, here it comes. End of turn. Melding! Brisela has arrived, and oh, this is huge. Flying for a Strike, Vigilance, Lifelink. Your opponents can't cast spells with mana value 3 or less. That means no Greasefang. It cannot be played. Most of our opponents' deck can't be played. It happened. It happened. Oh, we got him. We got him good. It takes some work to get there, but I do not think there's any way our opponent can beat this card. These cards, I guess, technically. It is technically 2 cards melded together, but I don't think it's possible. An opponent agrees and scoops it up, and that is the Brisela power. That was pretty sweet. That was pretty sweet. When it works, it really works. Our opponent did their thing. We had the Unlicensed Hearse. Our opponent had the answer for Unlicensed Hearse, but our Gisela, just by itself, thanks to First Strike and Lifelink, let us just survive the Parhelion hit, which was kind of sweet. We did it. We have proved that you can meld into Brisela in Pioneer and that it's kind of unbeatable. Can we do it again and actually win the match? That's question number 2. No hate cards. We do have a Thraben Inspector and we do have the Giselas, but they're probably too slow on the draw. I mean, this hand's fine, but I think we mulligan. This hand is more fine. Knight of the White Orchid to the bottom. And all right, see what happens. Blooming Marsh for our opponent. Stitches Supplier. Cave of the Frost Dragon. Will they milled the Parhelion? Cave of the Frost Dragon. Thraben Inspector. Go. Opponent. Don't Thought Sees Us. Concealed Courtyard. Say it away, Wayfinder. All right, mills a Parhelion. Well, I mean, I think we just have to play the Runestone here. Play the land. Weathered Runestone. Go attacking. Pass the turn. So opponent has to kill the Runestone before they can get stuff back from the graveyard. Opponent, combat. Gets and hits us. Down to 19. Knight of the White Orchid. We still could be dying. This could be our opponent just like blow up Runestone, untap Greasefang, Parhelion. That is a thing that could still happen. Knight gets us a Plains, non-land, so it works under the Runestone. Play the land, Rafine's Informant, Connive, discard the Informant. Well, let's see if they have the answer. Hit you for 1. Hold, Runestone, hold. Oh, it held. Okay, it held. Temple Garden untapped. I mean, if they're gonna try to play fairly, I think we can beat them. Opponent passes. Interesting. What removal could they possibly have? The question we have here, do we just run out Gisela or do we Elspeth Conqueror's Death the Chariot? The reanimation mode's not gonna work with the Runestone out. Let's Gisela. Play the Plains. No attacks. Untaps. Overgrown Tomb tapped. Passing? Cool. Okay. Well, now we're looking for the Bruna. We need a little bit of mana in the Bruna, and we can just meld again, and that would be sweet. Opponent passes. Restoration of Ajano. Elspeth Conquers Death. Get rid of the Zika's Chariot. Go to combat. Do some attacking. Opponent blocks. All right, no fatal push. Gisela beats. Opponent down to 10. Pass the turn. Still hasn't killed the Runestone. Oh no, Grizzly Salvage, okay. Well, Greasefangs, I guess, is what they get, or a land. Sure. The hate card's holding. The hate card's holding. We haven't melded yet this game, but opponent takes a Greasefang. Plays a Greasefang. Yeah, nice try. Runestone, opponent, passing. Ooh, attacking. All right, staying aggro, sure. This does mean if they can kill the Runestone, that would be bad. Let's crack the clue draw card. Play the land. Restoration of Ajano. Get a land. Hit ya. Down to 6. Well, this is our opponent's turn. They gotta answer the Runestone this turn, I think, or we should have it. About it. We also have enough mana that if we draw the Bruna, Rafine's Informant, gonna do some looting. Connives. Discards another Parhelion. The ECD tax might be relevant. Opponent plays a tap land. I mean, we can just try to fire up this Cave of the Frost Dragon if nothing else happens. Yeah, Runestone holds. Opponent. Wow, getting frisky. Kill your Greasefang? This seems worth it. So stuff dies. Greasefang down. We draw Rafine's Informant. Well, yeah, we're gonna fizzle our own stuff here. We will not discard a card. We will not reanimate. Play a land. I mean, I think we go for it. Cave of the Frost Dragon. Attack you. Taking down Greasefang. Well, we got the meld win last game, and then this game, the sideboard cards. That's why we got all the sideboard cards. The Weathered Runestone, yes, it hurt some of our synergies, but totally worth it because we would have been so dead to Parhelions. Wow, that was sweet. That was super sweet. Sweet. Against the odds time, we are trying to prove our devotion to Gisela. Oh my goodness. Mono green devotion again. Hi, it never ends. Well, we drew the portable hole, which is nice. We are trying to meld a Bruna and a Gisela into a Brisela. That is the goal, the hope, the dream. Opponent, Llanowar Elves and a Temple Garden, untapped, and a Llanowar Elves. All right, so all the mana dorks in the world. Snow-covered plains go. Opponent passes. Oath Anissa goes digging. Yeah, this deck's kind of the only thing going at the moment in Pioneer, unfortunately. Opponent, Elvish Mystic, and Sylvan Caryatid. So the problem here is our opponent just gets to Karn and then mostly win. Play a Nykthos, Restoration of Ajano, grab us the plains. So I mean, we have the Skyclave, which can try to hit the Karn, but the Karn just comes down and immediately tutors. Our opponent has 2 lands and basically infinite mana on here, turn number 4. And we even killed a mana dork. There's the Karn. The Karn tutors. 4. Probably Sky Sovereign, which is a big problem. Yeah, I don't know what they do to handle this deck. They got to do something. Wolf Willow Haven. Well, we will discard a Plains, get back the Plains, Skyclave, away the Karn, play a Jano. I mean, we're fighting the good fight, although we're about to start getting super taxed here. We actually have the full combo. I just don't know if we can search for glory for a combo piece. With all of our stuff costing 2 more because of this Karn, I don't know if we can actually... You do a Cavalier? Okay, there's the statue. With all of our stuff costing 2 more, unclear if we can actually pull it off, though. The Nykthos helps. If it wasn't for the Nykthos, we might be able to just straight up do it. All right, so the Saga flips. Play Gisela. Oh no, it's 6. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, that is a huge issue. Play Rafine's Informant. Do some conniving. Discard a Gisela. Pass the turn. Yeah, this tax is an issue. We'll see what our opponent finds. If they don't find a big payoff in the near future, then we kind of have a shot. Opponent's tapping a ton of mana. Opponent finds Storm the Festival, the biggest payoff. Oh, this one's kind of soul crushing because this God Pharaoh's, all right, 10 mana worth of stuff. I guess 9 technically. Opponent goes digging for a Nykthos. Doesn't get a Nykthos, but has the Karn that we can't answer. Yeah, I mean, I think this one's over at this point, unfortunately. That was a good hand for our opponent. Takes down the Karn, gonna get something. Oh, we were super close. Almost did it. I don't think even a melded Brisela does anything. Because even if we manage to meld a Brisela, their combo pieces are also expensive. They can still cast them. They just storm the festivals and Karns and chain veils into fairies and go infinite. Gets a Sky Sovereign. I'm gonna cast more things. Wow, that was such an epic top deck for our opponent. The Storm the Festival top deck. Cool. Pretty good, pretty good. Opponent passes. Knight of the White Orchid, and yeah, fair enough. So, on to sideboarding. We gotta bring in the Weathered Runestone and the Sorceress Spyglass, and I guess a Portable Hole and an Elspeth. We're gonna go down, probably the reanimation stuff, since we're bringing in the Weathered Runestone. And then I guess we just gotta do some trimming. The Knight of the White Orchids get worse if we're on the play, so we can go down some of those and try it like that. All right, we get to play first. We will keep. We will play Cave of the Frost Dragon. No combo pieces, unfortunately. But a couple of removal spells that, I mean, might help us slow down our opponent's mana dorks. Opponent Forest. And what mana dork we got this time? Elvish Mystic. Well, we will play a Portable Hole. Get rid of the Elvish Mystic, play a land, hit you for 2. So we'd like to find our meld pieces. If we can somehow meld early in the game, oh, Thanissa. If we can somehow meld early in the game, the meld would be pretty relevant. Opponent, another mana dork, and a land, and a mana dork. We draw a Snow-Covered Plains. Well, we will play it, and then Skyclave Apparition, the mana dork, and hit you for 1. How about some angels? Let's see a Gisela, a Bruna, something for the melding. Opponent has a land, and a Kiora. Passes. Snow-Covered Plains. Play Nykthos, make some mana, crack the clue. Well, there's Angel 1 for next turn. Rafine's Informant, discard a Snow-Covered Plains. Hit the Kiora. All right, can we find Angel 2 before we're dead? Kiora goes to 4. Opponent, Beseju, 4 mana. Untaps. Looks like a Cavalier to try to find Nykthos. Yep. Do they find Nykthos? So I get to draw a card with the Kiora. They find the Nykthos. So opponent has infinite mana for next turn. Opponent passes. Oh, we draw Gisela, which is sweet, although play Gisela, play the land, swing everything at Kiora to try to minimize the mana, lose some stuff. This is still a very bad spot. Skyclave down. So we're hoping to draw Bruna. I'm not sure that Bruna wins us the game here. It would let us actually do the melding, and I mean, a 9/10 flying first strike, vigilance lifelink, shuts down a bunch of your stuff. Like, that would be good. Is it good enough when our opponent has the Nykthos and the Cavalier, and all their combo pieces cost 1,000,000 mana? That is not as clear about it. All right, Old Growth Troll for free, thanks to Nykthos and a Temple Garden. An opponent has 7 more manas. They will use those manas to play more Kioras to untap the Nykthos to make even more mana. Now they have 11 mana, and then what? 10 mana. Storm the Festival for the win. Karn the Great Creator for the win. Karn the Great Creator. Unfortunately, we play this deck every round, but this is why Nykthos is the current best deck in the format. Opponent, Sky Sovereign, kills Gisela. Well, save us, Thraben Inspector. You're our only hope. Opponent, finally down to 1 mana, but put 40 things on the battlefield this turn. Gets in with their token. We draw Bruna. Bruna would let us meld. It wouldn't let us win, but it would let us meld. All right, GG. Against the odds time, we are trying to prove our devotion to Brisela in Pioneer, and looks like it's Greasefang. Well, Thraben Inspector, get a clue. So bad news is, game 1, this is going to be bad. Good news is, we have a ton of sideboard cards that are good against Abzan Greasefang. Temple Garden for our opponent, plays it tapped. Stitcher Supplier, do they mill the Parhelion? Well, they milled an Azeka's Chariot and a Greasefang. Those are hits, even if it's not the Parhelion. Goes attacking, not gonna block, can't have that in the graveyard, opponent passes. Nykthos, eh? Well, Castle Ardenvale, run out Ravines in format, do some looting, discard Nykthos, pass the turn. Well, okay, let's see if they have the Greasefang. And a land. Eldritch Evolution for Greasefang. I guess it's quote unquote only in Azeka's Chariot. This is one of those matchups that game 1. I mean, I think Greasefang is like this for most decks, unless you're playing a bunch of counters or something. But Greasefang is a tough game 1 matchup. Opponent gonna crew the Chariot, gonna get in, gonna make a million cats. I don't think we can get back in the game from here. Opponent gonna go attacking. And even if we answer the Greasefang, they just make yeah, we're okay. Good enough. Let's bring in our sideboard cards. Let's bring in the sideboard cards. Weathered Runestone, Unlicensed Hearse, March of Otherworldly Light, go down, Night of the White Orchid, because we're on the play for the most part. Portable Hole, I don't think actually does anything meaningful. Maybe like a Search for Glory and the Invoke Justice, try it like that. So basically, instant speed removal that can kill Greasefang before it does its thing, and 6 graveyard hate spells. So in theory, as long as we have these spells, our opponent, their deck should be very underpowered. Will we have those spells? Do we even keep this hand? We get redraws, but these redraws, if we don't hit one of the sideboard cards, I think we just mulligan. Well, this will keep. Restoration to the bottom, and go, Thraben Inspector, go. I mean, of course, our opponent will be trying to find answers to our theoretical answers, so sideboard roulette. Opponent, Blooming Marsh, and Stitcher's Supplier. Well, play the land. I think we got to get the hearse down. Go attacking. Takes it. Untap down to 17. And Grizzly Salvage. Well, there's a Parhelion, so we get to snipe that. As long as we can keep the graveyard clear, we should not be in too much risk of dying at least. So exile, untap. Well, go to combat, hit ya. If our opponent blocks, that's fine. Opponent takes it. I'll play Nykthos, play Thraben Inspector. I guess we just start cracking some clues. Pass the turn. We're slowly building up our mana symbols. Later Wayfinder. I mean, as long as the hearse lives, I don't think it's going to be easy to die. Mills some wow, did they whiff on a land? Oh, Cedar Wayfinder. Have had that happen to me so many times. About it, gonna pass. Well, let's keep sniping vehicles from the graveyard. Azeka's Chariot, and I don't think they can get spells back to their hand, but we'll eat the Witherbloom command just in case. Crack the clue draw card. Ijano. Ooh, March of Otherworldly Light. That's also pretty good. March of Otherworldly Light can actually just kill Greasefang at instant speed. Go attacking. Opponent blocks and blocks. Well, we might as well get this Stitcher Supplier out of the way. We do only have 1 white mana symbol, which is awkward, but play a Jano. Yeah, let's just keep passing. Playing this in the boringest way possible. Playing it like a control deck, essentially. Now that we have this unlicensers. At some point, our opponent's going to be able to hardcast a Chariot, but I think we can beat a hardcast Chariot. Passes. Well, I mean, crack the clue. Curse away some creatures. Untap. Go to combat. Hit you with the Thraben Inspector. Opponent takes it. Play another Thraben Inspector. Get a clue. I mean, this is the Thraben Inspector. The Thraben Inspector beatdown. About it on taps. Azika's Chariot hardcast? Yup. Well, keep it in the graveyard. Crack the clue. I mean, we can just Skyclave. We can just Skyclave away the Chariot, which is nice. Although, the Thrabe's beatdown. Getting harder. Passes. Skyclave Apparition. Get rid of Azika's Chariot. Play the land. Oh, are we attacking with the hearse? I think we are. Yeah, let's crew. Attack for 8. So the thinking here is because of Nykthos, we have enough mana symbols. We have enough mana symbols that March can be our protection this turn. So we don't really need the graveyard hate. We're getting close to Search for Glorying up a combo piece. It would be nice if we could draw one and then we'd know which one we needed to tutor up. Getting frisky, we will take it. But if we can draw one and tutor up the other, that would be ideal. Opponent passes. Skyclave Apparition. Well, that's 1, 2, 3. Search for Glory. Take Bruna. Play the land pass the turn. Now we need Gisela, and we got the full meld. All right, there's a white mana that is necessary for our opponent to Grease Fang, but there's no vehicle in the graveyard, right? Okay, sure. Goes attacking. Well, we'll just take it. Down to 17. Keep the graveyard clear. Well, 1, 2, 3. Skyclave Apparition. Get rid of Grease Fang. Bruna. Get back Thraben Inspector. Get a clue about it. All right. Kills the Skyclave. That's fine. It does mean we can't attack this turn, but we're so close. If we could find Gisela or a Search for Glory to find Gisela, I mean, we just meld and win, right? And Bruna's a 5/7 flyer. Like, even by itself, it's a 5/7 flyer that got back a Thraben Inspector. That's reasonable. We are shields down with this March this turn, though. All right, another Grease Fang. Gisela, come on, let's get this meld. Opponent, I assume has to pass. Opponent passes. Well, keep person away the graveyard. We're running out of good things to eat. This hearse is getting huge. So much death. Gisela? Oh, there it is. Okay, so 1, 2. Make some mana. Crack the clue. Well, opponent's gonna need some instant speed removal. Gisela. Yeah, we'll just pass the turn. Melding? Do you have an answer? Are you dead? Ah, opponent said congrats. We did it! We did it! About it. Okay, so I think that means that's game. I mean, now that we got Brisela, opponent just can't cast anything that's relevant. Flying, First Strike, Vigilance, Lifelink, opponents can't cast spells manifested 3 or less, which is essentially our opponent's deck. Like, they can cast Azika's Chariot. They can cast Parhelion, I guess, if they got to it. But yeah, nothing else is gonna be cast, which means we win. About it. Now, that looks like something that's 3 or less opponent. No. Brisela says no. There's a reason we have devoted ourselves to this card opponent. It's because it does, yeah, it kind of like Shadow playing Magic. All right. You know what? Let's bring in the Settle the Wreckage. Well, we actually managed to do it somehow. Knight of the White Orchid. Knight of the White Orchid gets better now. Although, you know what? Let's go down the restorations. Go back up some knights. Since we're on the draw, Knight of the White Orchid gets better. But really, kind of the same recipe. We're looking for a runestone or a hearse to shut down our opponent's reanimation plan. If we find one of those, we should be okay. Just like last game, like, we bought ourselves a ton of time to eventually set up the meld. But without those, things are scary. Like, this is a good hand. This is a good hand of Magic cards. We got some ramp, we got some removal, but I don't think it beats what our opponent's doing with them keeping 7. Oh dear. So our hope with this hand is that the March is our protection until we draw into a sideboard card. Ditches Supplya. Mills of Parhelion. Search for Glory. Well, that's a good thing to pitch to a March. About it. Godless Shrine. And Satyr Wayfinder. Gets a land and passes. So we might be able to beat a Grease Fang. We would still like to draw a sideboard card. Skyclave Apparition, okay. Pass the turn. So if our opponent Grease Fangs, we do get to kill it before it kills us. But that doesn't mean they won't just do it again, and we don't have an answer to the again. Grizzly salvage. Wow, all the vehicles in the world, but still no Greasefang. Unfortunately, we're kind of stuck doing nothing forever. About it gets and hits us. Or until we find a sideboard card. Down to 17. Opponent passes. Oh, we have the full pair. I mean, they didn't have Greasefang last turn. Yeah, I don't think we can do it. Not good, not good. And now we're to the missing land drop stage of the game. Godless Shrine. Grizzly salvage. I mean, they're gonna find a Greasefang eventually with this amount of digging. I would not be surprised if they already had one in hand, honestly. Guardian of Nubenalia. The other issue we're running into is we're kind of just dying to the janky beats here. Goes attacking. Like, do we just have to start playing stuff and hoping? Probably. Like, if we sit on this forever, yeah, I mean, all right. I don't think we can afford to keep waiting. I think we lose if we keep waiting. So we have to start doing things, which means the window is open for our opponent to get us here. Field of Ruin. Well, play Gisela. If our opponent has Greasefang, which we haven't seen from all this digging, but if they have it, it's game. Because the Skyclave kills the Gisela. Not dead yet. That is good news. Opponent goes attack. I mean, oh, they want Fatal Push turned on. We'll just take it. Not gonna turn on their Fatal Push. I mean, it's only 2 damage. So I really just don't have a Greasefang yet. Still would love to draw a sideboard card. Temple Garden. Opponent passes. We draw. Well, go to combat. Get in, gain some life. Search for glory. Nykthos. Play Nykthos. Pass the turn. We're trying to get to the Bruna. We are completely shields down again. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, no Greasefang. Oh, still no Greasefang. Somehow all of our opponent's Greasefangs are at the very bottom of their deck. Not dead yet somehow. Opponent gets back a Wayfinder. With 28 cards and 4 Greasefangs though, you know they're gonna draw it eventually. Did they draw it right now? Wow, they still didn't hit it. Miracles, miracles happen, miracles happen. Wow, we could use a sideboard card. Opponent plays a land. Runs out an Azeka's Chariot. I mean, we're two lands away. 2 lands away. Opponent gets in, hits us. Or some amount of white mana symbols. Oh, that's a hearse. We will go to combat. Get in with Gisela. Opponent takes it. Oh my goodness, 1, 2, 3, Skyclave. Get rid of the Chariot. Unlicensed hearse. Pass the turn. Now we're a land away. With 4 mana symbols, we're a land away. Opponent. Satyr Wave. Maybe we mill him out. Satyr Wayfinder. There's Greasefang number 1. And a Tassiger. Interesting. Opponent. Satyr Wayfinder. Mills some cards. Gets a land. Plays the land. Come on deck. Come on deck. Opponent. Full out attack. We got to take it because we know they have a Fatal Push. Opponent hits us down to 15. Well, let's start hearsing away vehicles. Sky Sovereign and Parhelion. Can we draw a land to prove our devotion worthwhile? That's a land. Bruna? There's no revolt. There's no revolt on Fatal Push. Oh, opponent they have double Fatal Push? If opponents, both of their cards are Fatal Push, this makes sense. Okay, double Fatal Push. All right, so opponent remains alive for now. Out of cards. Now we need to find a way to get Gisela back. Well, we played around the Fatal Pushes. Let's see if they find a Greasefang. There's still some left in the deck. What a weird game. There's still some left in the deck. Oh, I mean, that is one of the challenges. We played around Fatal Push as much as we could. That is one of the challenges. Removal before the end step can get us. I think we're going to see that with Urza in Standard too. Removal in response can be an issue. Witherbloom Command. Exile, I guess the Parhelions? Yeah, get rid of the 2 Parhelions. There goes the hearse. So now at best, Greasefang is getting back a Azeka's Chariot, which might be beatable. I keep attacking. Well, you know what we'd like to draw? That would be another Gisela. 3 more in the deck. We could also draw a tutor. Nykthos. Well, Elspeth conquers death. Nykthos number 2. Oh, are we just gonna win with Bruna? It's looking like it's going to be a Bruna win. I mean, that's still good. That is still good. Mostly, I mean, I think we got lucky more than anything. I was going to say impressive because we didn't have graveyard hate most of the game. More lucky that our opponent just could not draw a Greasefang to save their life. Oh boy, this is going to be a blowout. Oh, actually, we'll see. I don't think we die here though, right? Our opponent's got to get back a Chariot. We should be able to survive the attack. We should be able to survive the attack and then leave up Settle the Wreckage next turn. I mean, I guess there's no next turn for our opponent. They finally found the Greasefang with 9 cards left in their deck. Opponent Cruise goes to combat. Is not enough damage though. Not enough. Opponent copies a cat. And we got the GG. The double fatal push did ruin our melding, unfortunately. However, we did get the win with half of our meld pair, which is that's still kind of sweet. Opponent gives us the GG. Opponent saying they should have killed their own thing to kill the Gisela earlier, which is probably true. That might be true, because the life we gained might have been, actually I think was enough to keep us alive here. So if they did that earlier, they might have actually won. Although, if they did it earlier, I don't think they could have done it earlier, because then we would have just reanimated it with Bruna, and then we would have got the meld for sure. So, I mean, we got there. We got the meld in game 2. Game 3, we just kind of ground them out, but we'll take it. We'll take it. Sweet, sweet. All right, so what do we learn this week? And we got a little snack, a little one treasure chest snack. What do we learn this week about our devotion to Brisela in Pioneer? And overall, it was an interesting set of recordings. I played 2 leagues with the deck, went 2-3 and then 3-2. So right around 50-50, but the matchups were just, there was so little diversity. Played against Green Devotion like 3 or 4 times, played against Greasefang like 3 or 4 times. So there was just like, the same matchups again and again. So that's why I did 2 leagues to try to actually find a little bit of diversity, so we didn't just see the same matchup. So overall, well, not a great treasure chest, although Sensei is a cool card. So overall, 50-50 win rate. What do we learn about the actual meld? I think the PSA of this episode, and I think it's a good one for upcoming standard, is melding can be kind of tricky. Like, we're playing a deck that we're playing almost the max number of meld cards, 3 Brunas, 4 Giselas. We have a bunch of tutors to find them. We can reanimate them with stuff like Invoke Justice. So we're pretty devoted to actually being able to pull off the meld. And we still saw it happen, like 2 times really happen, and then a couple of more times where it like kind of happened, but our opponent scooped once they realized that there's no way they're going to be able to beat a Brisela. So across 10 matchups, we managed to meld, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 times, depending on how generous you are. So the meld, it does happen, but it's not like something you can do every single game. We got to see like the good and the bad. The good is when you meld, it's unbeatable. Like, well, unbeatable for a lot of decks. There are some decks that can actually just don't care and are just going to deal with Brisela anyway with a Wrath or something. But in general, if you meld against most decks, it's going to end the game in like 1 or 2 turns. On the other hand, we did see some blowouts where we're like set up to meld, but then our opponent was able to like kill the Gisela before our end step with a fatal push or something, and then we wouldn't be able to meld. And I guess the good news is both of the cards are pretty good on their own. Gisela is actually like very good on her own, and then Bruna's okay. Like a 5/7 for 7 is a little bit tough. The reanimation is nice though, even if we're not reanimating the meld. But we did see the blowout potential, and I think this is mostly how meld's going to be in standard as well, especially with Urza, where Urza kind of has that delay similar to Bruna and Brisela, where you gotta pay 7 mana at sorcery speed to be able to flip it around. When it works, just like we saw with Brisela, it's going to be absurd and it's going to win the game. When it doesn't work, you're going to get kind of blown out by a removal spell and you're going to be very sad. I think Mishra is a little easier to meld just because it can happen during combat, although removal is still a thing. Like, you still need to attack with both of them, so instant speed removal can still get you, but at least you're not going to spend 7 mana or something. You just need to attack with 2 creatures to get the meld. So I think overall, melding into Brisela, it's definitely sweet, and we saw it be like sort of effective, although we did get some wins just because of half of our meld pair. I think that's one of the upsides of this meld pair. Like we talked about before, Gisela's just like kind of a fine creature, especially against aggro decks. Bruna's like actually not that horrible of a creature, even though its stats aren't great. So we got some of the wins just because one half of the meld pair was good enough, and then when the actual meld happened, it was generally enough to win the game. So that is devoted to Gisela and Pioneer. That's been our Gets odds for this week. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.